Hi friends, it's Terry Stewart, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in the U.S. in Central Maryland. Welcome to this month's bundle bonus where we pick our favorite bundle from the mini catalog, which is the September to December 2023 mini catalog. And I'm super excited to share my favorite, which is the Translucent Florals bundle. It's a die bundle. So let's get to it. So the bundle that I'm working with today is a Translucent Florals bundle, which I said was a die bundle. I love the florals in this. They kind of have shading already in. So you ink it once, and yet you get these shadings and darker images on the leaves and on the flowers. And of course it has this great happy birthday and congratulations, which it seems like you need those type of cards, at least I do, almost monthly, right? And then it has stems, so you can put these flowers on stems, and then little images to give it like the center of a flower, and these little sprigs. And I've used a lot of this in my sample today. I have used this stamp image, this flower image, and this image, as well as this one. Congratulations, and wishing you all the happiness in the world. Now it has a coordinating dies, and I have used the dies. Some of the dies cut the images, like here's the leaves, these two flowers. So let me take those out because I am going to be using them today. And then there are other dies. If you want to make some layered flowers, you have these petals and these small flowers. This cuts out that little sprig I showed you. So you have a lot of dies to use in various ways. Some with the stamp set and some just on their own. And let me bring in, I'll bring back my stamp set. And here's the card that I am going to be demonstrating today. Now I have used embossing, some heat embossing. And I don't know if you can see all the silver embossing I did some gold embossing here. And so this card is kind of sparkly. And I did something a little different with my embossing. I embossed on different colors of cardstock. I embossed silver on this smoky slate. I embossed silver on the very vanilla, and I embossed silver on white cardstock. And then I did some gold embossing. So this is all about embossing. And can you see the details? I was really amazed with how the details on the stamped image came through on this embossing. It was just pretty incredible. So there's my dies. Let me tell you about the cardstock I used. So I used scraps of smoky slate, basic white, and very vanilla to stamp on. And then I have this piece of, it's a 1/2 inch, and I think it's 2 3/4. So 1.3 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters, maybe more. Anyway, all that should be in your bundle bonus. So this is the bundle bonus for October. You purchase the bundle and you'll get this as a bonus. It's with my card, my sample. Other demonstrators participating are doing different cards with different bundles. So it's really a fabulous deal. You buy a bundle and you can get this as an inspiring tutorial along with this video. So I have scraps of cardstock, and then I have my base of smoky slate, which is 5.5 by 8.5 inches, or 21 centimeters by 14.9 centimeters. Then I have a layer of smoky slate. This is 4 by 5.25, or 10 by 14.4 centimeters. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to do a little stamping. And we're going to do some heat embossing. Now I have done some before, so I'm just going to show you a little bit of an heat embossing so you can get the idea of what I'm talking about. So for this, I'm going to do the flower image. Well, not the flower image, the leaf image. And I am using my Embossing Additions kit. So Versamark, that's not part of the kit, but you need Versamark ink. It's a watermark ink, so it's a thick ink, not water-based. It takes a couple minutes for it to dry, and that gives you enough time to use your embossing powder. So I'm going to use my silver embossing powder, and that is an additional purchase. This is the kit. When you buy the Additions embossing kit, you get a brush, reverse tweezers, and an embossing buddy, and this cool tray that says Stampin' Up on it. Now, so let me set this aside and put my Versamark. So I need 2. So I need, of this leaf, I stamped 2 on the Very Vanilla and 2 on the Smoky Slate, and I did 1 in the Basic White. So just ink it up and stamp. Now the good thing when you stamp on color cardstock is you will be able to see, because it's a watermark ink, you'll be able to see where it is. So it's the same color, it's just usually a little bit darker, or water. It's a water base. Oh, I forgot to use, well, we'll use that next. So, and I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper, put inside my tray, and I wanted this to be silver. So here's my silver embossing powder, and it's going to stick just where that Versamark ink is, and that ink has not dried because it's not water-based ink. I tap that off, and I could use my brush. This little spot over here. Get it close, but not on my stamped image. There we go. Now I can put my powder back into my jar and seal my jar away. And bring in my reverse tweezers. Now with my heat tool, I'm going to turn my heat tool on. There's R2 speed, so that's the first speed, and there's the second speed. And you want it to warm up. And this is hot. This is not a hair dryer. It's like 450 degrees. And you want to put the heat gun pretty close. As soon as it turns shiny, then you move the gun or move your paper. You don't want to overheat it, especially with this stamp set, because I have found if you overheat it, those lines, I think you can see, you get a kind of a raised image. If you heat it too much, it melts almost flat. So just heat emboss until it's shiny, and then that's all you need. Now I am going to take this over to I would put my die down on top of this. And the other secret is these 2 holes down here. You want to be able to see what you heat emboss through those, and then you know that you have your die in the right place. So I've run it through my cut and emboss machine just like this. And I would come out with, I'd stamp my flower on the white cardstock as a basic white, one on basic one leaf, and then I did 2 on the Smoky Slate and 2 on the Very Vanilla. But I wanted to show you one other thing. And when you stamp on, sorry, I pre-did this, but I want to show you how different it can be, because of the Versamark ink, you really can't see it. And this is where I'm going to use my embossing buddy. This comes with the additions kit, and this de-static, so if you're doing words and you don't want extraneous, you just pat this on, rub it over your cardstock before you ink. So here's my congratulations. Now if I stamp here, and then you want to hold it for a few seconds because you wanted this thick ink, it's not water-based, to transfer to your cardstock. It's kind of difficult to see that. I don't know if you can see that. Anyways, it's difficult. So here's the trick. If you use a water-based, and we're going to use this smoky slate, and you ink it with Versamark first so it's clear, then grab some of this water-based ink and then transfer it or stamp on your cardstock, you can kind of see where the Versamark is. Let me put all this away again and bring out my embossing tray. And let's get my scrap paper here. And we're going to do this one in gold. So these are old packaging and new packaging. Same product, just old packaging. And over both of them. And you will see that the embossing powder is going to stick to it. Just like that. And you can take your brush and these. Now see this spot here, that's the original water-based ink, and it dried before the embossing powder could adhere to it. So one of these little containers will go a long way, because you pour all the excess back into the container. And now using our reverse tweezers, we can hold this one, turn my heat tool on, and again, just heat it until it turns gold, or turns shiny, I guess. This is gold, but you'll see it turns and then once it's turned, it's done. So if you're working with light white cardstock or very vanilla, that's a little tip for you, is to use an ink-based so stamp with Versamark, ink up with Versamark first, and then tap it with a water-based ink, and that way you'll be able to see where the stamp image is. So anyway, I've already done it. It was just a little tip for you. Now, the other thing is, so that's our scrap paper, and I've already stamped and cut out. When you use Versamark, you need to clean with a Stampin' Mist, because it has soap on it. It's not water-based, the Versamark, so you need to clean with the Stampin' Mist. The chamois, it just is water-based, it won't take the ink off, so you do need to use Stampin' Mist and a Stampin' Scrub to clean your stamps. Now that we have all our pieces die cut, we can start assembling. So I'm going to take my card base, that's half a sheet of cardstock, scored in half. And with my bone folder, just going to crisp up that score line. And stick that under here. And now we have our card front. And using the Smoky Slate ink, I am going to stamp this little sprig, and I'm going to go to the top, to the bottom, to the side, and then kind of just fill in all the way around. A lot of the die cuts will cover this, so this is just a background for them to lay on top of. And I love this tone on tone. Nice. And so I'm going to dry fit. I'm going to do my Very Vanilla on this side and this side. I am going to snip off these leaves or stems just so it's not so bulky in the middle. So we'll have one leaf cluster coming up like this, one leaf cluster coming down, and I want to position them so some of these little sprigs stand out. And then with my Smoky Slate, do the same. And now I'm going to save these stems and use them for my flowers. So that one will go there. And then again, save my stem. So I'm not sure which one I'll be using. Kind of fiddle with these and get them situated where I like them best. There. So I like that the little sprigs are kind of coming out behind. So now I know that. And using my liquid glue, I'm going to secure these to the front. And the next piece, and then our Smoky Slate die cut. And then the piece, a Smoky Slate, the second Smoky Slate piece. And the flowers, I'm putting this larger flower, and I've put some dimensionals on it beforehand. And then the smaller one is going to come down here, and I wanted this stem which stem looks nicer? About the same. I guess I use this one. A little dab of glue, and then stick the stem right on top, like so. And set that aside to dry. And while that's drying, we can assemble our card base onto our card front onto our card base. So just put some liquid glue, and then center this on that card front. Perfect. And then we're going to do some more dry fitting. So this larger flower, and then the smaller flower, and our congratulations is going to go down here. Now, I think I want this up a little further so the congratulations doesn't block the sprigs. So why don't we put on the congratulations first? So this ribbon I'm using also comes from the mini catalog. This is the iridescent white, and I think it's 3/8 half inch wide. And for this, I'm going to use some tear and tape, and I'm going to cut this first, cut my ribbon. So I want it to go from side to side, so about 4 inches or 10 centimeters. And it's a little crooked, so let me see if we can trim this up. Nice. And the first thing, I want to put my congratulations, and I just wanted to have a little bit of the ribbon showing, so I'm going to use my tear and tape for that. Tear it right off the bolt, put it on the lower edge, and then using my take your pick, I'm going to burnish that covering, and with the piercing side, lift up the covering like so. And then I'm going to eyeball it. Hopefully I can get this straight. That looks about right. Now I'm going to put another piece of tear and tape, this time on the ribbon, to hold that in place. And then again with my take your pick tool, I'm going to run this across just to burnish it, and that makes the adhesive stick a little better onto the ribbon. And then using my piercing side of a take your pick tool, I'll lift up covering, and now, oh, it's sticky. Lay that, and hopefully I can get this straight. Looks good. And now we'll put our flower, decide where we want this little flower to go. Something like that. So this stem will be just above the U on this version, and this flower is going to be right there. So just kind of here at the right hand top, I can remove these dimensional covers and get it stuck down. I think that was about where I had it. Looks good. And I'm not going to put any dimensionals on this right side. I'm going to put them on this left side. Here's my large ones, since that's what I have close to hand. And I can just rip off this edge. Put that there. And we're close to having this card completed. That. Now this is lifted up a little bit, and I can take a scrap of cardstock, put a little dab of glue on it, and get that underneath, and then this, just hold it for a few seconds, and that will secure the edge of this flower down to the second flower. There we go. Same with the stem. All right, and now for the final bit of decoration is these festive pearls. I'm going to be using the silver. Take your pick with the putty end here and take these gold pearls, or silver pearls. One there, one here, yeah, right there, and then one down here on the left. In my original, I did complete the inside, and I wanted to show you how I did that. So I had stamped and embossed and die cut this leaf on Whisper White. So on the inside, this will go on the inside of my card. Let's leave this open. So using my smoky slate ink and the words wishing you all the happiness in the world, I'm going to center that towards the top. And glue this piece down. Now these three leaves, I kind of feel like they frame these words. So I'm going to adhere them down and then clip off the overhang. So I'm going to be careful where I put my adhesive, because I don't want to put it on the part that I'm going to be clipping off. About there. And nice, no glue on this side. And then with my snips, I can just snip this extra off. Put that up there with the other pieces of snips that have to go into the trash. And back to the card that needs an inside with my liquid glue. So I hope you enjoyed this bundle bonus, and will like and subscribe to my channel so I can bring you more fun stamping projects. Now I did want to show you before, this is a little lifted up, so again I can take this scrap cardstock and put a little glue on the edge and slide it under and push it down just to adhere there. So I did want to show you, give you a catalog tour so you could find these products in the mini and some from the annual catalog too. So from the mini catalog, the bundle can be found on, if you're in the US, on page 56, and this is the Translucent Florals. You can see here where they die cut some vellum, it looks like, to create these flowers and the inside petals. Gorgeous, gorgeous bundle. And on page 9, and if you have the US catalog, this is the iridescent ribbon that I love. I just love the shininess, and it can be overlooked because it's so it's like one of the first things in the catalog, and you can kind of overlook it. So I just wanted to point that out to you, make sure you didn't miss it. And then from the annual catalog, the cardstock and ink. So we have on page 123 in the US catalog, Smoky Slate. Here's the cardstock and the ink pad we used. Can be found. Let's see, I think the next thing is all the embossing. The powders, this is page 136 in the US catalog. The embossing powders, the heat tool, and that Embossing Editions toolkit up here where you get the tray, the static embossing buddy powder, the reverse tweezers, and the brush. And the Versamark ink is on the next page, page 137 in the U.S. catalog. So you don't want to miss that. And the pearls. So these festive pearls is page 140 on the U.S. catalog. And you get 4 colors of pearls. The silver, gold, green, and cherry cobbler. So that's where you can find them. And that's my bundle bonus for October 2023. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can bring you more fun stamping projects. And until next time, remember, stamping is fun. Bye.